Good morning, everybody, for day two of our presentation. We're talking about today about distribution of music, digital distribution. Thanks to everybody that joined us on Wednesday, where we talk about marketing in general, and now we are going to dive into the distribution. This event is brought to you by the Caribbean Export Development Agency and the UKTP program, which is financed by the UK government and managed by the International Trade Center. And we have with us our music expert, Carlos Delgado Inver, um, graduate of honorary graduate of Berkeley School of Music, MBA in music, and expert on the different aspects of music. So, Carlos, I pass the floor to you. If you have questions, please write them in the questions section. And after the Carlos presentation, we will go into the questions.
Great. Thank you, Tayana, and good morning to everyone. Happy to reconnect. Today we're going to speak about distribution. We had a good conversation about marketing earlier in the week, and next Monday we're going to be speaking about songwriter and publishing royalty. So three activities that are still going on, regardless of the whole Corona situation: marketing, distribution, and copyright registration, as well as royalty collection. So, in terms of digital distribution, we're gonna go over what is it, what are your options, what can you expect, and what should be your responsibilities and constant activities to maximize the uh, the results of any distribution operation. So, uh, gonna read off the slides. Digital distribution gives you access to streaming and download platforms. So when you work with any digital distribution company from, I'm sure you know these names: CD Baby, TuneCore, DistroKid, Symphonic Distribution. The basic service will be the same for everyone. They're gonna put your music on most streaming platforms. So you're gonna be on Apple Music, you're gonna be on Spotify, you're going to be on Amazon, you're gonna be on Deezer, uh, on Tidal. So all the major uh, companies from the Western world, and I'm sure every time there's a new one popping up, they're going to be establishing agreements and uploading music to those platforms too. So they take care of those relationships on your behalf. So definitely a very valid service that is up for grabs for any independent artist. Digital distribution companies upload your music to the different platforms and pay you royalties when applicable. So let's draw the big line here. If you wanted to sell a CD in Japan 30 years ago, you had to manufacture CDs, you had to send them to a couple of stores in Japan. You had to check back with the store to get information about how many were sold. You had to get the money sent to you. With digital distribution companies, you upload your music, they put it out there on every platform that they're working with, and they do the accounting for the royalties. They tell you how many streams, how many downloads you generated, and they send you the money. So it doesn't get any easier than that. So again, digital distribution should be something that every independent artist must have on on their platform of their career. So great service that these companies provide. First of all, getting your music to the different platforms, and second, paying you when applicable. So additional services of distribution companies, and this is where they start becoming a bit different. Additional services include publishing administration, promotion of your music for placement on playlists, movies, and series. So at the main level, distribution companies get your music on the different platforms and pay you any royalties that you are due. Second tier of services, this is when it gets a bit more advanced. They can do administration for your publishing. So instead of you going to all the different platforms and all the different collection societies in Europe and throughout America, they'll take care of it. Uh, Definitely something advantageous, especially for independent artists. And the placement, those are anyone who has gotten a placement in music, it's always a very good surprise because it can happen. You can get a call tomorrow. Hey, Carlos, I want your song for my next movie. Hey, Carlos, I want your song for my next series. Placements are always good, especially if you can get paid for them. So the distribution companies will promote some of their catalog for placement opportunities, and they'll collect the money on your behalf for the initial license, and they do most of the work in terms of the administration of the agreement as well as the royalty. So definitely an advantage of some distribution companies who work on this sector too. So in the case of distribution companies in the year 2020, plenty of opportunities. So it's not that you have to choose between one or two, whatever they provide. I will say it's tough for an artist to choose a distribution company because there are so many different regions, global, focusing on a specific music genre, distribution companies where you may have a relationship already, distribution companies where your colleagues are already working, distribution companies with different business models. So if you wanted to choose based on five different factors, which could be uh, the type of services they provide, the placements that they offer, the publishing administration, their business model, you could do a very in-depth research of available distribution companies and choose on a couple of different factors, which are all important and are all valued differently by each artist. So if you were here on Wednesday, uh, marketing should be a constant activity. Digital distribution is a key building block for your career. So we're talking about two key activities that are very hands-on. Yes, the distribution companies do all the work of getting the royalties and placements and uploading the tracks, but in order to make the most out of the relationship with a distribution company, you need to show them what you are also doing on your career on a daily basis, and that way they'll be much more motivated to uh, to promote your tracks for placements, to provide you options for publishing administration for your compositions catalog. So very hands-on if you choose to make it that way. So as I mentioned, the artists have the choice as there are many uh, distribution companies, and they could have different business models. They could have different a la carte services. As I mentioned, placements, publishing administration is in your hands to understand what you are looking for and to understand what each company brings to you. So if you wanted to go in depth into an analysis of distribution companies, there's a couple of things that we could do. Let me share my screen. I have a website here. Hold on a second that I wanted to show you. And you can Google right now. You can Google music distribution companies compare. Okay, and you'll have at least five different pages, which with comparison. So this is one site, and let me know if you're not seeing it. But what I'm showing you here is a table with comparisons between music distributors, and this website is called musicdistributorscomparison.com. If you wanted to do further exploration, so look at all the differences between music distribution companies on the first column. Uh, Outlets, the amount of songs that they're releasing on a yearly basis, the perception of accurate payments, the business model, which is on most occasions the main driving factor when an artist chooses a a distribution company. So, for example, CD Baby, one of the most popular ones, charges a 9% commission on all the royalties that they collect. If we were to compare CD Baby with DistroKid, only on the commission, DistroKid doesn't charge any any commission. They charge an upfront fee of $19 a year for singles and $35 for albums. So right there, we're starting to see differences just on the business model. If you see other companies such as Lander, for example, 0% commission, but $12 a year for 10 songs or $36 a year for unlimited uploads. So that's, you know, one of the main comparison points that people bring to the table when choosing uh, music distribution companies. You know, live chat, customer service, yes, no, some don't, some have. This is the customer support email turnaround, also compared, and the distribution fee for each of the different companies. So very good uh, list that this page has put together. Musicdistributorscomparison.com. I definitely encourage you to keep the to check out the site again and continue the investigation, your research on it if you haven't gotten a music distribution company so far. So again, in very general terms, the music distribution companies will upload your tracks to major platforms, provide you with market data, which will go a bit more in depth uh, in a moment, pay you royalties based on the rights and the activities, conduct joint marketing efforts, and promote your music for playlist and synchronization opportunities. If you were here on the marketing webinar, remember what I mentioned about the amount of data that YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram provide you. Same thing with music distribution companies. It's fairly easy when we're talking about digital distribution to pinpoint how many streams you receive in which countries, for even for how long were people listening to your tracks. And this is good information if you if you're interested in looking at it and making the most out of what you've generated individually. So how do you evaluate a music distribution company? As I mentioned, plenty of options out there, at least 10 compared on the website I shared a second ago. Should evaluate music distribution companies based on these initial five elements and any additional interest that you may have. I'm putting these as to get the conversation started for you to understand what are the differences that you're going to find in the market. So evaluate music distribution companies based on commission, on royalties, and cost to upload singles and albums. We looked at three different companies and we saw three very different models. So CD Baby, 9% commission, DistroKid, 0% commission, but a yearly fee. Lander, 0% commission, but a yearly fee that was a bit different than the one from DistroKid. So right there, just on that element, three differences between three companies. So whatever works for you at the end of the day, plenty of options. Customer service. Are you interested in having constant contact? Are you more hands off? You want to upload your music and just go onto the website on your platform and look at the data and get paid? There's companies which give you uh, more ways to contact them: email, phone, online chat. There are companies which also only have one type of customer contact. So it's for you to choose. Uh, Turnaround time and technical requirements for uploading. This is sometimes a big pain point for the artist because, and I'll put it as objectively as possible, you're not the only artist they're dealing with. and it's unlikely that a song can be uploaded and available on all distribution platforms within 24 hours after you upload it. So similar to marketing, if you're planning on releasing a track, don't start the conversation or don't start the upload process on any platform the day before. Do it a month in advance. So again, the Christmas song, don't upload it on December. Don't try to upload it on December the 23rd because it's not going to be up on December the 24th. Start the upload process on at the end of November, so it can be ready before the date you want to upload it. And some, if not all of the distribution companies have a function, a feature where you can set the actual debut of the tracks after you upload it to the platform. So you can have 5 tracks uploaded today, ready to be distributed, and you can set the dates: one for October, one for November, one for December. That's usually going to give you more peace of mind, making the most out of that function. Willingness to work together on promotion and marketing. And this is one of the key points that you should bring to the table when speaking with any distribution company. For every artist, every distribution company is going to upload the music, is going to get the royalties, and it's going to pay you. For some artists, distribution companies will work together on promotion and marketing efforts. Who are these some artists I mentioned? These some artists are the ones who have active marketing campaigns, who have release schedules that they can show to the distribution companies, who have marketing budgets that they can show to the distribution company. So in order to get this one going, think about a couple of the things that we spoke about on the marketing webinar. Plan everything in advance, have a budget, and present yourself with the numbers. So if you go to speak with distribution company X, what I would recommend is sign up, upload your first track, and then reach out to the company. Tell them, hey, distribution company X, I am artist name Carlos. I recently uploaded a track, which is coming out in the next 2 weeks. And I want to speak with you further about doing joint marketing efforts and potential playlists and placements in movies and series. What do I have to bring to the table? Well, this is my release schedule for the next 6 months. This is my marketing campaign for the next 6 months, and I'm going to invest X amount of dollars on these things that I mentioned. That's going to be a great conversation because the more money you make, the more money the distribution companies also make because you're paying them for a service, either the flat fee or the percentage, depending on the way they're set up. So definitely to make the most, sorry, of your relationship with a distribution company, bring something to the table apart from the track that you're uploading. Bring your Instagram page. Tell them, hey, distribution company, I have X amount of followers. I want to bring it up to twice as much in the next 3 months. I have this budget. What can we do together? That's going to be a good conversation for distribution companies you approach. And some distribution companies are specialized on genres, on territories. There's a couple of distribution companies specializing in soca, in Caribbean music, in the more general, in the broader meaning of this genre. There are companies focused on hip hop, companies focused on rock, companies focused on classical music. So it's in your hands to evaluate music distribution companies as something not only to do the standard of uploading the track and getting paid, but also seeing how they can contribute to your development as an artist, not expecting them to do everything. I will say it's an 80-20 situation. You have to do 80% of the work. They'll do 20, but that 20 is definitely going to bring you a lot of results. So that's definitely evaluate music distribution companies based on your interest and bring things to the table. That's going to be the best conversation that you can have with any distribution company. Music distribution companies will look at your current marketing efforts, your budget, your online presence, and social media activity to establish feasibility of promoting your music for playlists and synchronization opportunities. So in this case, you can have whatever that would be, the best song in the world. You could have the best performers. You could have recorded in the best studio in the world. But if you have an Instagram page with 3 followers and 2 posts in the last 3 years, it is unlikely that a distribution company is going to go ahead and say, oh, yeah, let's work together on a joint marketing effort, or let me pitch your music for placements on this new Netflix show that reached out to us looking for music from the Caribbean. So you have to do 1,000 things to get people to pay attention to your work, and this is something again that I mentioned on the previous webinar. It might seem unfair to put all these things on the table of independent artists, but it definitely has its advantages, to be in control of your career and to be the one calling the shot. So uh, when thinking about music distribution, think about marketing, think about your online presence, think about making the best of your digital real estate and keeping people clicking when they go onto your different profiles. So I'll say it's 49% based on quality of music, 51% based on your relevance on social media, on your activity, on the quality of photos and videos that you have on your different sites. So when thinking about the feasibility of obtaining placements and getting companies to pitch your material, think about the 49, 51% framework that I'm mentioning. 49% quality of the music, 51% your online presence and your relevance. So one of the things that you should expect, first of all, is the type of service that you're going to get. We mentioned 5 or 6 different characteristics from that music distribution companies will differentiate with. Uh, Remember this site, definitely go on it and understand what you can expect from different distribution companies. Understand which are your interests. Are you interested in uploading unlimited material for a flat fee, or are you thinking of, well, I'll take it one release at a time and pay a fee for every track? Do I want email customer service, or I want phone customer service? Do I want people actively promoting my music for placements on playlists and movies and series? Music distributor comparison is a great start to complete this exercise. And then the big question: how much am I getting paid for each stream? Uh, I think, well, I know my perception is that the music industry works well at 95% of the level of its activity. So if you have your music out there on a distribution company, you can expect to be paid fairly based on the amount of streams and downloads that you receive. If you're registered with a performing rights organization, you can be expected to be paid fairly based on first of all, the correct information that you have provided, and second, on the amount of activity that your music gets played. So I sometimes get frustrated when the conversation turns into, well, the music industry is screwed. We're not making enough money, or it's all the government's fault that we're not making any money. Might be, it might not be, but in the year 2020, you can hire a distribution company to put your music in every digital distribution platform, in any digital streaming platform. Carlos, I can record this. I'm banging on my table right now. I can record this, and DistroKid or CD Baby will put it on every music streaming platform. That is a wonderful thing that we have today. It definitely brings down a lot of barriers, and it's something that artists should make the most out of. How do you make the most out of it? Well, marketing, quality content, schedule, planning the releases, and of course, you have to be yourself artistically. At the end of the day, remember the Adele, the Taylor Swift, the Drake example. Not all of their songs are hits. What do? They release tracks. If they work, they continue doing the marketing. If they don't work, next track. So please don't think of the music industry as something that's against you. Uh, you have music distribution companies that get your music to every platform. So I'll say that's something very beneficial that was unthinkable 30 years ago. How could you reach Australia, Japan, and India from Jamaica or from the Dominican Republic or from Barbados? Could you send a CD out there and get people to place it on a store? Impossible if you weren't a mainstream artist. Now you can do it for $10 a year. So that's something good that is happening. So closing the parenthesis, how much can you expect to get paid? And I'll bring you a good dilemma here. Do you prefer to get paid $10 for a CD once, or 0.00006 per stream every time someone listens to your stream? So in theory, I could buy a $10 CD from you directly, pay you $10, and I could play that CD a billion times. You only made $10 on it. On the other hand, through streaming, I will stream your track a billion times and you will get paid a billion times. So think about that approach. Yes, we're talking about fractions of a cent, uh, quantities that are not even real if you were to ask for a payment for one stream, but it gets you paid every time your music gets performed, which brings something very interesting to the table that we didn't have, 30 years ago when we're talking about selling CDs and selling physical uh, media. So this is a very good calculator, music streaming royalties calculator. If you can't see it, let me know, but I think I'm showing you that. This is from Bit of Music, and you can Google. Well, this is the specific website, Ditto Music. How much do music streaming services pay musicians? Uh, and you can Google royalty payments calculator, and you'll get something very similar. So plenty of platforms here, plenty of platforms to choose from. These are the most popular ones: Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, Amazon. And let's do the exercise. If you're on Spotify and you get 1,000 streams, you're gonna get paid $4.37. Oh my God, Carlos, I'm only getting paid $4.37 on 1,000 streams. Yes, two things. You're getting paid every time someone streams your track. So if you get streamed 10 times, you get paid 4 cents. If you get played 1,000 times, you get paid $4.37. With a CD or something physical, you get paid only once, and that's it. The second thing, think about your catalog. Your catalog is not only one track that's going to get streamed 1,000 times on Spotify once. If you're releasing music every 2, 3, 4 months, or even 2, 3, 4 weeks, you're going to build a catalog of tracks that get 1,000 plays a month. You're going to build a catalog of tracks that get 200 plays a month. You're going to build a catalog of tracks that get 10,000 plays a month. You're building these different sources of revenue from different platforms, and that's really what you should be striving for in terms of your career. The depth of your catalog and the constant releases. Your marketing campaigns can be targeted to specific platforms. So for example, if you're looking at this, Spotify, 10,000 streams, $43. Napster, 10,000 streams, $190. I'm going to ask you a question. If you could put a link to any streaming site on your Instagram, on your Facebook, or on your YouTube digital real estate, which one would you put? Uh, Carlos would put Napster because Napster pays more than Spotify as of today. So this is not completely black and white, but in terms of royalties are you going to get from different platforms, Napster pays more than Spotify. What will be the downside? Well, not as many people have Napster than people who have Spotify. So those are things to keep in mind. So similar to the CD stream debate, when you're looking at where to market your music, think about which platforms you're going to give preeminence to when you are using your digital real estate. So remember, on YouTube, the information section of your video, it will be great to put, yes, I'm an artist from the Dominican Republic. I love music. Thank you. That's not gonna get people to click. The best use of that space will be, please listen to my full album on the following link. If you wanted to make the most money per stream, you could put your Napster link first and then your Spotify link second, for example. Uh, there's so many, different uh, streaming platforms, and the big thing here on with YouTube, that's the big also another dilemma. Everyone has access to YouTube, and by everyone I mean 80% of the people who have internet in the world. But YouTube pays the lowest at the end of the day. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer access on YouTube, or do you prefer the higher payment per stream on Napster? And that's a question that I bring to the table, and you answer based on what you are interested in. So on this page, which is on the presentation too, we'll see also a more graphic based comparison between the different services. So at the bottom, YouTube pays 0.00069 cents per view. Napster pays 0.019 per stream, and everything in between. And each company is going to have different territories. Each company is going to have different policies on what type of content to upload. But that's a something that you need to take into consideration when doing your marketing campaigns. Where am I going to send people to? And you have control. You can put your links on Instagram. You can put your links on Facebook, also on YouTube. Where do you want to send people? If you want to make most money, test the Napster link and see what happens in 3 months. Put Napster first, Spotify second, switch it off for the next video, for the next YouTube real estate usage, and see what happens. Remember, everything should be treated as an experiment. You can think that you have the best song in the world, the best video in the world, but it's going to be the market who's going to be speaking at the end of the day. Thanks to today's state of the music industry, you can reach basically anyone with digital distribution. You can have a YouTube channel for free, and you have to put some thought uh, into how are you communicating your message with your people, with your fans and your potential fans. So, to close off the presentation, um, similar to marketing, establish a schedule for your releases. Thinking about, don't need to plan 3 years in advance unless we're talking about the X anniversary of your country's independence, for example, and you were working on a track that you wanted to release. But it is feasible to plan for 6 months in advance. Remember, um, when we spoke about marketing. You can plan for 6 months in advance. So establish a schedule for your releases. How many tracks can you release in the next 6 months? Whatever fits the bill. If is it one track, is it two, three, four tracks? Whatever you can do, definitely go ahead and plan it. Remember that music distributors work with hundreds, if not thousands, of other artists, so everything takes time. Give them at least 3 weeks to upload everything and have your track ready to be released. Uh, Between the time you start the upload process and when the track is going to be ready, give them 3 weeks at least. Uh, and that would be the first building block of that relationship. Understand that it's not going to be an instant turnaround. Second thing, establish a marketing budget. One of the key things, and I'm going to mention this to everyone always, when you're budgeting for a music video, when you're budgeting for a studio track, don't let the marketing budget be the last thing you think of. Make it the first thing. Similar with distribution. You're going to invest 30, 40, $50 on your distribution, depending on the company you are choosing. Understand that to make the most out of every release, you should establish a marketing budget for anything that you're putting out. That's going to make you look better in the eyes of the music distribution company, and that's going to increase the opportunities for uh, placements, for them promoting your music, for them featuring you on their Instagram and their social media. So the more you do, the more you can benefit from a relationship with a music distribution company. So definitely establish a marketing budget. Communicate this information to your distributor along with your online and social media presence. Remember, the relationship with the distributor, and this is coming from me, this is not coming from any distributor. Uh, so it's my perception. 49% based on the quality of the music, 51% based on your presence, your online presence, the quality of the videos, the quality of your photos, the frequency that you put Instagram posts, the frequency where you post on Facebook, and any additional thing that you're doing. So make sure that when you break the ice with the distribution company, when you upload the first track, reach out to them. Tell them, hey, I want to release this track in the next 2 weeks. This is what I'm doing on my career. What can we do together? And going on percentages again, this is going to be an 80-20% relationship. You have to take care of 80% of the activities. The music distribution company will take care of 20%. But again, that 20%, if you can make it happen, that's going to be extremely beneficial for you. And again, don't think about a one-time occurrence of this collaboration with the distribution company. Think of this as a constant situation. As you are approaching distribution companies with proposals to work together, hundreds of other artists are doing that too. So um, understand that your online presence, your marketing budget, your post frequency, the quality of the content that you put out is an important factor for a distribution company to say, okay, yeah, let me work with Carlos on the next 3 releases, and I'm gonna pitch this track that he has set to be released during Christmas. I'm gonna pitch this to a Christmas playlist. So the more you show that you're doing, the more the distribution companies will do for you beyond the basic service of uploading tracks and paying you royalties. Uh, Again, ask how the distributor can contribute to your development. 80-20, they'll do the 20, but uh, that 20 is going to be big, if you can make it happen on a constant basis. And again, show that you have a plan in motion, a professional online presence, Facebook page with a custom URL, YouTube page with a custom URL, Instagram page with a custom URL, making the most out of your digital real estate, keeping people clicking, and quality content across the board. And to wrap it up, digital distribution gives you access to streaming and download platforms at the click of a mouse, and sometimes at no cost, no upfront cost. There are plenty of companies providing distribution services, and one of their main differences is their cost structure, as we saw on the comparison page. An internet search for music digital distribution companies will provide you with multiple comparisons and profiles. So it's in your hands to do the research and understand what's going to be best for you. And music distribution companies will look at your current marketing efforts, your budget, your online presence, and social media activity to establish feasibility of promoting your music for playlists, for placements on series and movies. So remember the 51% is based on what you're doing online, 49% is based on the quality of your music, and 80-20. Once you're working with a distribution company, you have to do 80% of the work, which goes back to marketing, to scheduling, to investing in your in every one of your releases for promotion, and then the extra 20 that they bring to the table, it's definitely going to bring a lot of benefits to you. So that's it for today. I look forward to any questions that you have.
Okay, there are some questions. First one is, can I also sell instrumental music using distribution company?
Yes, any type of track that you want to upload, as long as it meets each company's technical requirements. They look for a certain quality on the audio. If you worked on studios, I'm sure you've heard about WAV files, MP3s as lower quality. So each company will have different things in terms of the requirements. But yeah, music is music. There might be distribution companies focusing on instrumental music, and the benefit there will be the placement and marketing opportunity. So I'll say Google is your friend on this one. I don't know any specific names, but you can Google instrumental music digital distribution companies, for example, and there might be something there. If not, plenty of options from the companies which I mentioned. CD Baby, DistroKid, Lander, etc.
There's another question about, do a smaller distribution company push to place your music more than larger companies? And I think it drives to previous questions we had in other webinars where maybe a small artist from the Caribbean feel that going to those large players, they may get lost. What do you say about that?
All right. I'll say two things: 51-49 and 80-20. I'm from the Caribbean. Whoever asked the question is from the Caribbean, and we're making Caribbean music. For a second, forget about that. Don't think of yourself as necessarily a Caribbean music artist when presenting yourself to a distribution company. Think of yourself as you. Forget about music genre for this occasion, and focus on having a good online presence, having a budget, having a marketing schedule, and having and making the most out of your online presence. Okay, so if you're putting quality music out that, regardless of the genre, people in different countries and throughout different age groups have liked, whatever like might mean, then doors will open for you, regardless if you're from the Caribbean, from South America, from Africa, from Canada. So to that regard, I will say think bigger than encapsulating yourself in a music genre. Of course, as an artist, you are an expert at your Caribbean, at any of the Caribbean music genres that you play, because no one plays reggae better than people from Jamaica. No one plays soca better than people from, I don't know what the competition is, so I'm not going to mention any countries, but no one plays merengue better than people from the Dominican Republic. So we already have that in our DNA. Uh, so yes, bring that to the table on the artistic side, but on the business side, on the strategy side, think of 51-49, quality of music 49, 51% your presence, your online presence, and then bringing things to the table to any distribution company, whether small or large. If you're thinking about scope, then yes, the larger distribution companies will have the relationships with the bigger players in the industry, no doubt about it. But uh, stepping stones, you have to start somewhere, and I don't know what level of your career you are right now, but ideally, play in a field where you can, first of all, sustain a marketing budget for 6 months, for a year, where you can present material of a decent quality, comparable, if not a bit better, than whoever else is playing on your same genre field, on your same music field, and good things will happen. It might sound too capitalistic, but going back to what you mentioned about Caribbean music, the I don't want to hear someone from England play reggae. I probably wouldn't want to hear someone from the Dominican Republic playing rock music. We are the best at merengue. Jamaica is the best at reggae. Germany is probably the best at classical music, for example. The UK is probably best at rock music. So think about playing where you are the best, and we are definitely the best in all the genres that we created in our different countries. So that's a long digression, but I wanted to touch on that also to bring a bit more of a business versus artistic perspective to the conversation.
Will distribution company have to see some work that I have uploaded on YouTube, or should I just send them my work, my music pieces, and what I
All
have
right,
been?
so two things. Uh, you can go to CD Baby now, pay them $9.99, upload the track that you want them to distribute, and upload your photo that you want to appear on Spotify and on Apple Music. That's it. Uh, that's the transaction at the basic level. Uh, if you're thinking of them contributing to your marketing efforts, then think about the things that we mentioned. Your track record, your presence on digital media, your YouTube page, which you mentioned. So uh, distribution companies are not necessarily record labels, and I think you might be going on that direction. They're not going to say, "Oh, you have all these tracks. I want to sign you as an exclusive artist." They might do that, but don't go into a relationship with a distribution company thinking that that's going to happen. Think of it at the very basic level. You're going to give them the information of the track, you're going to upload a photo, and they're going to put the music on the platforms. That's a first level of collaboration. If you want to bring it to the next level, yes, send them your YouTube channel, send them your Instagram, send them any when touring comes back, send them your touring schedule, send them everything, as long as it tells a story, and that way they'll take you into consideration. Oh, this guy send me all this information. I'll have a movie that wants music from us for Netflix. Let me pitch these tracks from this artist to this movie, since the artist has all these things going on. So yeah, uh, first of all, think about the initial transaction. Hundreds of people, if not thousands, do it on a daily basis without speaking to anyone at the distribution company. And then, if you want to ask them for additional services, make sure that you're bringing something of value to the table for that conversation.
Do you know which distribution company focuses on soca music? Or does it make sense to get a distribution company that is so specialized?
Yeah, well, there's a distribution company in the Caribbean, Scampi, which I came across a couple of months ago. I think it was Diana who mentioned it. I don't know if the person who asked knows about it. I understand that Scampi is very focused on the region, and if we're talking about Caribbean, I'm sure they have a specialty in terms of soca and other Caribbean genres. So what you're looking for in a company that's specialized on something is that others will look at that company to get that type of music. So, and again, the movies, the series, the playlists, the international brands who are looking for music are looking at distribution companies as sources rather than only at major record labels. So that's the playing field has leveled over the past couple of years. Even independent music as a whole has increased its share when compared to the three major labels, which dominate basically in every country. So independent music is growing. I can't remember the percentage, but it's something. If it was one label, it would be a decent sized label. The independent music as a whole. So if looking for a distribution company specializing in soca, think about what they can do for you. Also, basic transaction and the additional services that you can ask as long as you can bring something to the table too.
Right. So if you have let's say a local Caribbean company that's trying to develop to become a distribution company, it's still worth to compare what they offering to those websites that you have shown. That,
Yeah, I mean, the first question, if you wanted to start a distribution company, seeing that there are so many distribution companies out there at the regional and global level, what are you doing different from the artist? Do you have a different business model? Do you have a relationship with movie studios in the region, in the US? Do you have a relationship with specific brands that are looking for Caribbean regional music? Are you investing in artists on a more active basis when compared to other companies? So uh, I will bring that question back to you, and if you want, we can keep the conversation going offline through email. But yeah, if you're interested in establishing a distribution company, um, think about what you can offer, because I'll say competition is tough out there. It's tough for the artist to choose one. I mean, we saw 8 or 10 different companies on a quick comparison table. It's probably 20, 25. And there's room for more. At the end of the day, independent music is growing. More people are releasing music. Uh, so it's a matter of what you can bring to the table to the artist.
my point was that if you're an artist and you look at let's say a local or smaller distribution company, sometimes people think that if you have a website to distribute music, you have a distribution company, which is a different thing. And in the comparison table that you show, it shows the different criteria that you would have to discuss with whatever other distribution companies have to see if they have the reach that you are searching as an artist. No?
Yeah, well, the ones that I mentioned there are global, so they have full reach. If not full, 99% reach in terms of platforms, access to potential placement, uh, the infrastructure to collect royalties, which is something that is constantly overlooked by people who want to establish distribution companies. So these are, what I show you are the big leagues. That doesn't mean there's no room for other companies. But yeah, in terms of reach, those are the big leagues. The 3 or 4 that we spoke about.
Curacao, Scampi is Skempi. Another question, which social media platform would be the best to use to maximize the amount of click that would make people stream my music?
Well, if we were to compare based on the age range of your market, I'll say if your market is younger, I'll say TikTok, number one. If your market is between 25, 35, I'll say Instagram. If your market is above 35, I'll say Facebook. So it's just a matter of understanding which market you're trying to reach, understanding I mentioned three platforms. No one was talking about TikTok 2 years ago, and now it published numbers for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and it has crazy numbers of subscribers throughout the world. So uh, if you wanted to do it by age group, think about that. If you wanted to do it by flexibility, uh, I'll say Facebook provides you with more breadth of the type of content you can post on the site. If you wanted, quick access, Instagram. If you wanted more of a content creation focus, TikTok too. So uh, varies, by age group. Uh, I mentioned the considerations by type of content you're providing. I mentioned some considerations too. At the end of the day, whatever you're doing, bring it forward with a constant marketing effort too, constant marketing budget and constant marketing work behind the scenes, and that's going to increase your opportunities too.
We have somebody that knows you from Guyana that says that he or she wants to know about distribution from the Guyana perspective. I think what you have given applies to everybody, but you can answer.
All right. Well, two things: the artistic side and the business side. On the artistic side, of Guyana has its own roots, its own genres of music. Like, now, I hope I get a lot of people in the chat. I'm gonna say I never heard people play steel pan like I've heard in Guyana, for example. So I say that's something that Guyana has that not many countries have. So that's the artistic side. That's unique to each country. On the business side, integrate yourself to the market at large. No need to present yourself to any company as I'm from Guyana and I need to be treated differently because I'm from Guyana. That's the music will speak on its own. In terms of business, there are plenty of structures that have already been established for the music industry at large, whether you're from Guyana, Suriname, the Dominican Republic, Trinidad, uh, and I will say it in very basic terms. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok are open for business to everyone, regardless of where you're from, unless the government has blocked it in your country. Uh, YouTube is open for everyone. Again, with I don't know how each government treats YouTube on each different country. The distribution companies, which I mentioned, are also open for everyone. So two things, the music, you have your own expertise. Each country has its own expertise. In terms of the business, plenty of structures established for, I'll say, the world at large to integrate themselves into the first of all the promotional activities through different platforms and the distribution and royalty collection too.
Someone asked if they can distribute by themselves instead of going to one of those companies.
Yes, if you have 10,000 songs and 10,000 compositions that you want to distribute, uh, it's not practical for one artist to reach out to 50 different distribution companies unless that artist were Adele or Taylor Swift. Uh, the advantages of doing it would be that you get paid directly. The disadvantages will be that in order to get paid, you will have to probably hire 3 or 4 different people to keep track of 100 different online stores, the royalties, the licensing, the the distribution accounting. So I mean, you can get distributed for free through DistroKid. I'll say it doesn't get any better than that. If you had enough power in the music industry to dictate terms to Apple and Spotify, then go ahead and negotiate direct deals. A couple of artists have done it, or they have exerted some pressure to the different platforms to get more payment. For example, Taylor Swift took her content out of Spotify a couple of years ago, um, trying to bring to the table that artists weren't getting paid enough on the platform at that time. So I would say for practical terms, no, don't try to contact 50 different distribution companies because it's going to be so expensive for the reasons I mentioned. Getting the whole infrastructure together. And second, if you have 5 tracks, uh, no one's really going to pay attention. So we love you, whoever you are, whoever asked that question. But in terms of the big picture, think about these companies are. I remember 10 years ago when streaming started, each company was advertising. We have 27 million tracks. That was 2010, 2011. What you see now is we have 50 million tracks. They wouldn't have time to deal with one artist who wants to distribute one track every 3 months. So everything is another term for the digital music distributors is aggregators. So instead of Apple Music dealing with 50,000 artists who want to distribute through them, they deal with one company which brings together all these artists. And Apple Music speaks with CD Baby, and then CD Baby speaks with its artists. The same philosophy here with the performing rights organizations, which most of our countries have. Instead of 1,000 artists lining up on every radio station every month asking for 5 cents for for airplay that they receive, the performing rights organizations bring everyone together and they charge 5 cents many times in one bill. But it makes it better for everyone at the end of the day.
If an artist is in a current agreement with a record label, is it probably the record label that has a distribution deal already? So can the artist still do a distribution deal?
It all depends on the agreement. Usually, the labels, well, not usually, record labels make money by exploiting the sound recording. So if you're with a label, most likely the label is taking care of the distribution. If it's a large label, they have their own distribution infrastructure. If it's an independent label, they're probably working with any of the companies which we've mentioned, CD Baby, TuneCore, DistroKid, etc. It's probably written on the agreement that the 10 songs you're going to record with the label are exclusively owned by that label for either perpetuity or for a specific amount of time. So I will let them do their work. It's great if you can get a label to, first of all, give you an advance to distribute your music and also invest in the marketing of the track. If that doesn't happen, then which I think it might be where you're going with this, then it's just a matter of understanding what are your rights on the sound recordings and understanding what you could do once the label doesn't have any rights on them. So it's on a case by case basis. But if you're working with a label, first of all, they're doing their distribution. That's the way they're going to make money by putting the song out there and having it gain streams and downloads and placements. And if things are not working out, then there's an agreement in place that should dictate how things are going to pan out over time.
So how does this work when releasing a video clip music video?
Well, in terms of videos, if you're an independent artist, you have your YouTube channel. don't necessarily have to go through a distributor to do it. Some distributors have music video release services, which can be placement not only on YouTube but on many other YouTube-like services that YouTube basically dwarfs, that YouTube casts a big shadow over, because YouTube gets seen by probably a billion. There's probably a billion active users on YouTube on a monthly basis. So definitely the biggest platform. Uh, Distribution companies may distribute it on different services that you may not even have heard about when thinking, oh, I'm going to put my video on YouTube. So that could be a benefit. Additional platforms of distribution, and also what they will do, if you do your registrations correctly and you're doing the publishing administration, they will collect royalties from the YouTube views that your video gets, both for the composition and the sound recording.
There's somebody that says, I'm Martin Messiah, artist name MA, based in Guyana, and I just released a song that has over 50,000 views on YouTube. And I wanted to know what you think we should do to engage a North American and European audience.
All right. Well, the first thing that I will think about is to understand how recent was this release. So if it was in the past 3 months, we could call it a new track still. If it's over 3 months, then you know how things are today. People want the newer thing. So if it's 3 months, if it was between release between May and now, then step two, and step two will be look at your YouTube page. See if we can do an example here. And we went over this during the marketing. So if you were here, great. If not, this will be a refresher. I'm going to share a YouTube page in a second. Look at your YouTube page and see how you can make the most out of the digital real estate that YouTube gives you for free. So I'm going to share. Where's this? All right. So I'm sharing. Can you see the YouTube page, Diana?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. All right. So check out your YouTube page, and on the more information section, think about what we talked. First of all, keep people clicking. So what do you have right now on your YouTube page? If you don't have any links to your official website, to your iTunes, to your Amazon, to your Google Play, to your social media, then put them on for this and any video that you're releasing. So make the most out of that digital real estate. The second thing will be to analyze whatever data you have on the page already. And the third thing, you still have time, I'll say, for a marketing campaign. So I'll say do a 2-month marketing campaign, Facebook, for example, which allows you for very good targeting, and the Guyana diaspora. I'm gonna go on a limb here. I say they're probably more in New York than any other city. Queens. I don't know the neighborhood of Queens, but I understand there's a good chunk of Guyana diaspora in Queens. You can target that. You can be as specific as possible, specific age groups. And I'm saying this, do a 2-month Facebook campaign, do a budget that you can sustain for 2 months, and understand that this recent video that you have, and I don't know what it is, but I'm sure that you worked hard on it, that you probably gave the most. Understand something. People may not like it. If people like it, you will see it on increase in the streams that you mentioned after the marketing campaign, increases on your followers on Facebook. Uh, if you're expecting 500 additional likes and 10,000 more views, and that doesn't happen, then next video. If you have a music career, it's constant experiment at the end of the day. What are you targeting? If you're targeting the diaspora, Facebook gives you plenty of tools through their ad manager. If you're targeting people in Miami, you can find people in Miami based on gender, age, interests, etc., that you can target on Facebook. Think that every release is an exercise, is an experiment. If people like it, give it extra time, understanding that there's a next song to be released. If people don't like it, then closer, uh, bring the next release closer and do the experiment again. Uh, one question, one answer that the artist should stray away from giving is, who is your target market? Everyone. That's a I don't want to be too absolute, but that will be a bad answer. Uh, if you're an independent artist and you're looking to find a target market, or you're looking to market to a specific group of people, first of all, think about how much money do you have, and this is as clear as possible. If you want to target everyone, you are competing with Sony, Warner, Universal, and their multi-million-dollar budgets. So not going to happen in practical terms. You can be the next Mozart, but remember, 49, 51, 49% quality, 51% the activity that you can create. Every artist that's on the mainstream today started somewhere. They started playing to 100 people. They started playing to a specific uh, uh, group of cities, and they did a lot of experiments, and they grew. Not overnight. Those are the miracles, and those happen once every 10 years. You shouldn't uh, expect that to happen to you. Not because of your artistic qualities or anything. You should build your career based on constant experiment. 3, 4, 5 releases a year with their marketing, with a good presence, and that's how you build a career. Think about 10 years ago, everyone was speaking about Lady Gaga. Oh my God, she blew up overnight. But not really. She spent years working on studios, playing in bars and clubs in New York, and it fizzled. She's an exceptional case, of course. Not everyone that works for 5, 6 years in a studio and plays in bars is going to get to that level. She got it, uh, 20 different factors, but she was always releasing music, always performing, and always networking too. So going back to your question, let me finish. Going back to the question, uh, make the most out of the digital real estate that you have on YouTube, and use Facebook to market to a group of people as specific as you can get. If it works, great. Market for 3 months instead of two, and at the end of the third month, have your next song ready. If it doesn't work, then next song, and start marketing your next song sooner.
What's the difference between a publisher getting your music out versus a distribution company?
Uh, Two different areas. So the distribution will focus on the audio, on the recording, and on the composition. So a distribution company will handle that. And think about the basic level of the service. They will put your music on the platforms, they will pay you royalties. Basic service. The basic service of a publisher is something similar. They will collect royalties on different platforms, different countries, etc. And the traditional music publishing situation involved a an effort to place your tracks with either artists or advertisements or anywhere where it could be used. Today, the term publishing is a bit more diluted, and companies who advertise themselves as music publishers are only offering administration services. They're not actively pitching your tracks, your compositions to other artists, to labels, to brands, and to anyone who could use them. So two different areas. Most likely, the distribution company is also going to offer you publishing administration services. And if you bring uh, things to the table, they're gonna go ahead and do the full publishing, which is, we're gonna pitch your tracks and we're gonna see, we're gonna work to get your music placed on different avenues too.
What is your opinion on music distribution via telecommunication bundles? For example, Digicels in the Caribbean owns the music streaming services for its customers. Is there a reasonable option, or is it an advantage in the Caribbean versus the large pool of Spotify, etc.?
And it's good. I mean, every day there's new sources of music consumption that come out. As long as they're paying royalties and as long as they're licensed, that good. They for me they're great. The key is the two-way communication. It is the responsibility of the artist to have all registrations in place with different organizations, with your copyrights, for example. It's your responsibility to have them in place. It is your responsibility to either get publishing administration through a digital distributor or work with a publisher. Um, and if you have your structure ready to be part of a larger, Digicel streaming service or a Spotify or whatever, it's business as usual. Shouldn't be any hiccups. So, on the one hand, any additional music distribution platform and mode that comes in, I'll say it's positive. On the other hand, there's responsibilities that the artists need to take. You shouldn't expect a third party to to be interested whether you have or not music distribution or you have your copyrights registered. They're going to look at the big picture, and there, at least in the United States, there are plenty of mechanisms to avoid uh, large oversights in terms of obtaining correct licenses and not paying. It's a bit different in our countries, but think about your business platform initially, and then if you have everything in place, then being part of that, it's called the new ecosystems. It shouldn't be shouldn't give you a headache. Should represent a new source of royalties and payments.
Somebody from Trinidad is telling you that soca and steel pan comes from Trinidad, so he or she is inviting you to listen to some of Trini music. Can a person go on multiple distribution companies such as Scampi and this DistroKid? Are there exclusivity clause with any company?
It depends. Some companies would, and again, it depends. Some companies will want you to be exclusive to them. If they want you to be exclusive to them, they'll provide you some sort of advantage, either an advance of capital or guarantees are going to market you or they're going to get you X amount of placements. But in very general terms, the you're in control. You as the artist are in control of what the distribution company can do for you. As we showed on one of the websites, distribution companies have the options of uploading single tracks, which I'm sure they would want to remain with them for as long as it can be possible. They have the option of uploading albums, full albums, which again, I'm sure they will want to remain with them for as long as possible. So it's just a matter of understanding what's best for you on each occasion and thinking, yeah, if you choose a distribution company for a single, leave it there for the long term. If you choose a distribution company for an album, leave it there. If you enter into an agreement where you're the exclusive artist of a distribution company, then definitely honor that agreement too.
So you can have different companies for different tracks.
Yes, different companies for different tracks. Not likely different companies for the same track, but yes, for different tracks. As long as they're not currently distributed by others, unless there are situations where you want a company to distribute to one country, another company to distribute to another country, but that's like level 4 difficulty, which it's unlikely that artists will get into unless there's advances or guarantees that a certain company is offering you.
Um, there are some distribution companies that wants to let others know. So if you write to us, we can distribute your contacts to the list. Um, and the recording is also going to be available for you of this presentation because that has been one of the questions. Somebody says, I'm from Haiti, the Ar's neighbor. I sign up with TuneCore. They take 10% of my revenue, although I noticed in the music distribution chart that they do not take any percent.
Well, I will say write to TuneCore to ask for any clarifications. In general, if and this is coming from me, this is not coming from TuneCore or any other distribution company. In general, if you're seeing an amount, that's what's yours after they taken their commission or their flat fee. So that will be my initial appreciation for that or any other distribution company. If you have a relationship with them, reach out to them and ask them. If you're already their client, it should be a good conversation to have that clarification too.
Okay, there's somebody asking, in order to get paid, do you need to have an online account? And I had that question as well because some people have issues collecting the money, um, getting an account registered somewhere or getting paid directly to their local account.
Well, not to mention any names, but one of the companies that we have mentioned in the Q&A section has a situation where they pay through a bankless app, and you can Google that. Like music distribution companies that pay direct, or music distribution companies with no account, and that's becoming more popular as more people from our countries, for example, which may not have the visibility in terms of the bank system when put side by side with the United States, for example. These companies are paying attention. Definitely, there are some options.
You answered this question last time, but somebody is asking again. Maybe they were not on Wednesday presentation. As an artist, is it better to have a business profile or a personal profile?
Depends on what works for you, and each will be different in terms of the capabilities and the type of content you can upload. I'm thinking of Facebook. So figure out what works for you. That's the only thing I could say to that. Figure out what's best for you, and you have both options on Facebook depending on what you're trying to do.
If I make a cover of a song, can I still use that cover on a distribution platform?
As long as you get the license, and most, if not all, distribution companies will have their own mechanical licensing function, where you can say, yeah, I'm going to get 1,000 mechanical licenses for 1,000 streams of this song, and they will issue the license for you. You have to pay in advance. So yeah, that's very well integrated these days to increase the ease of doing business.
Are there any legal documents that I should have to get my music onto a distribution company?
Anything that should be generated the distribution company will generate it in terms of a contract. One of the things from the previous question, you will need a mechanical license if you're doing a song that's not your, if you're doing a cover. Uh, the general advice for everyone, recommendation, get your copyrights registered too. If you're going on a global scale, and can be a number of issues can arise. So from your hand, get the copyright registered through the distribution company, get the mechanical license, and that's a very streamlined process. And the distribution company will take care of the agreement between you and the company.
Okay, so we have a question from Jamaica. Is only signing up with BMI enough for copyright as an artist?
For the public performance, yes, if you're giving them global scope. What some artists do is they sign to their local PRO and give the local PRO global capabilities. I know people from the US, for example, who have a US PRO for the country, and they have another for Europe, another for the Caribbean. So it's just what you want is to have the world covered, whether it's by one PRO or two or three. I wouldn't get to five different PROs, but two is is common.
Okay. Some people have asked about the if you miss Wednesday presentation, there is a recording that you can access Caribbean Export website. These 3 trainings are going to be in the Business of Music platform as an additional part of that within Caribbean Export website, and the PowerPoint presentation as well. We promise those that fill out the evaluation forms are going to receive the Excel of the promotion marketing plan. So that still counts, but many of you have not filled out that evaluation form. So I hope you do so, and we will ensure that you will receive that. And I think that's all for today. No more questions. Like I said, the ones that are, if you are a distributor and want to let other know, I think we would be happy to share the information if you send it to us. So definitely we welcome that. And remember that the last session is going to be on Monday at 11 as well. And we will be talking about publishing. So we hope that you tune in on Monday at 11. Thank you so much. They said that as a writer composer, only one person can register with a, I guess, with a song at a time.
Can you repeat the question or put it on the chat?
As a writer composer, only one person can register, I guess, the copyright at a time.
I mean, if you're 100% owner of a composition, then yeah, just one person. But if there's 2, 3 people, there's and I'm sure you're familiar with this, there's something called a split sheet, which you can also Google, split sheet agreement. And this is something that I recommend. You will put out of business probably 50% of the lawyers that work in music if you fill the split sheet before the song goes out, because there's a lot of trouble after a song gets published and the artists don't know, oh, do I own 20%, 30%, 40%? So if there are multiple composers or multiple producers, multiple creators of a specific song or a composition, definitely sign a split sheet, and each person has the right to register their percentage of that composition. So it's often you see on ASCAP or on BMI one track owned by multiple people, and if there's one on ASCAP and one in BMI, the ASCAP will say ASCAP controls 25%, for example. That tells you that, well, the other person owns 75% and they're registered with BMI.
The distribution companies, do they have the copyright for your song, or you keep your copyright?
The distribution company is acting as a placer of your tracks on different platforms. You are the composer, you are the owner of the recording. What they get is the right to, not to be redundant, to distribute that track to different platforms, and that right is usually tied into a time frame or a 1-2 relationship where they need to get X amount of money back if they provided you with an advance or any other stipulation. So you're the owner of what you bring to the table. If you have the registration, of course, you're the owner of the percentages that you own of what you're bringing to the table, and they're acting as a distributor of your copyrights based on the understanding that they have under specific terms.
Okay. Well, thank you, Carlos. That's the last question. If you have further questions, we will answer them on Monday. On Monday, also, we're going to explain how some musicians can participate, especially from the OECS Jamaica and the Republic, can participate in the KTP program. And we will put you on the survey that you have to fill to be able to participate. That's going to be on Monday. So hopefully you'll tune in Monday at 11. Thank you. Thank you, Carlos. And on behalf of Caribbean Export, the International Trade Center, and the government of Great Britain, thank you for your presence here, and look forward to seeing you on Monday.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.
I'm trying to get